Hello viewers, this is Just Fake Network TV, a place where you can get the latest information about Nigeria news. For those who subscribe, we want to say a very big thank you to you for subscribing. We'll say God bless you. If you're yet to do so, please kindly press the subscription button below. And now the news in details. President Buhari's special advisor, Mariam, counter attempt by Senate President and House Speaker to trash Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. Mariam, special advisor to President Muhammadu Buhari on social investment, has released a strongly worded statement countering attempt by Senate President Ahmad Lawan and Speaker of the House of Representatives Yemi to tarnish the reputation of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo over his management of the social investment program. In a statement titled "Lawan, Gbajabiamila got it wrong," Mariam provided statistics, giving figures and listed concrete examples of how much was released to the social investment program and how the money was used. She described as untrue many of the allegations made by the duo. The wife of Nigerian President Aisha Buhari had attacked the program as well, but Mariam corrected some of the misinformation being peddled around. Nigerians would go to the polls in 2023 and Vice President Osinbajo, who is a natural choice to replace President Muhammadu Buhari, has come under attack by President Buhari and his men, as well as those who are close to former Lagos State Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Tinubu handpicked Osinbajo for the vice presidency, but he seems to have since turned against him with unconfirmed reports that he too would like to president. Attempts to discredit Vice President Yemi Osinbajo seemed directed at the 2023 election. So here is the full statement released by Mariam Owainse. Mariam, 2 trillion social investment program a failure, says Lawan Gbajabiamila. My attention has been drawn to the online report of the Nation newspaper on 7th April 2020 with the above captions. Indeed, several other online publications carried similar stories, alleging that the National Social Investment Program, as supervised under the Office of the Vice President, were a scam. Given the gravity and implications of the narrative conveyed, as well as the caliber of persons involved, it has become necessary to clarify the issues in the public domain. That the National Social Investment Program has gulped over 2 trillion naira since 2016, when the fund was created. Untrue. Although the total appropriation by the National Assembly NAS from inception from the 4 NSIPs is 1.7 trillion naira, the actual funds released for the NSIPs between January 2016 and October 2019, when the NSIPs were handed over to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, amounted to 619.1 billion naira, constituting 36.4% of the total appropriation from the NAS. The monies released for the NSIPs can be further broken down into 14.03% in 2016, 35% in 2017, and 43.5% in 2018, and 57.8% as at September 2019. Of the 500 billion naira in 2016 and 400 billion naira appropriated for the subsequent years, it should be noted that for 2017 and to 2020, the sum of 100 billion naira was appropriated specifically for the National Housing Fund hosted by the Federal Ministry of Finance. This releases covered operational activities and payment to 13 billion beneficiaries across all the 4 NSIPs, all of whom can all be verified either through their BVN numbers or their unique numbers generated by the National Social Register. Those identities haven't been generated for the poorest of the poor who do not own bank accounts for sundry reasons. As at September 2019, the fund had been expanded as follows. On the job creation program, 549,000 N-Power graduates and non-graduates, and 7 technology hubs, national homegrown school feeding program in 33 states. The National Cash Transfer Program, including the development of the National Social Register by the National Social Safety Net Coordination Office. 1 billion poor and vulnerable households comprising 6 billion individuals in 33 states and 620,000 cash transfer beneficiaries, and the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program managed by the Bank of Industry, a total of 2 billion naira, 2 billion trader money, market money, and farm money beneficiaries, that as part of the conditions for poor and vulnerable beneficiaries to be engaged, they are made to apply online, through the internet, and they required a BVN for payment on True. The National Cash Transfer Program derives all the cash transfer beneficiaries from a National Social Register, comprising state social register that are developed and hosted by the State Ministry of Planning of each state. The process for objective identification of poor and vulnerable households is as provided in the financing agreement signed between Nigeria and the World Bank, for which purpose the World Bank IDA credits and the recovered fund from the Abacha family are being utilized. The process involves a poverty mapping of the LGAs in each state, of the local government in each state, community mobilization, targeting and identification supported by trained enumerators at state and local government level, after which each of the households identified by the communities is visited and data collected, which information includes feeds such as the size of household, age, gender, persons with disability if any, assets, vocation of head of household, educational qualification if any, dwelling house condition. Finally, all the data collected is subjected to a proxy means testing formula to determine those who merit the grants and the accompanying training. Even though each state hosts its own information, all of the data is hosted at the national level as the National Social Register. As at March 31, 2020, the NSR comprised 11 billion individuals from 2 billion households collected from 35 states, 453 local governments, for the 7,698 communities. Each and every beneficiary has a generated unique number and can be tracked. Furthermore, payment service providers have been selected in an open procurement process to pay the cash beneficiaries at their locations, as many of them reside in communities where there is a dearth of banking infrastructure. Even though the majority of beneficiaries are not financially literate, the National Social Investment Office, NSIO, then under the Office of the Vice President, commenced the pilot exercise of payment of beneficiaries in 6 states through Microfinance Bank in September 2019. With a 93% success rate, the exercise was preparatory to full digitalization, especially with the impending cashless policy in March 2020. It is also pertinent to mention that the National Economic Summit Group, working with Accenture and the Busara Center for Behavioral Sciences, formed the Policy Intervention Unit for the NSIO. Furthermore, in addition to the World Bank Street auditing responsibility, the African Network of Environmental and Economic Justice has provided over 700 monitors across all the local government areas where the NSIP beneficiaries exist. The link to the report is to be downloaded at this following. It is only a respect of the job creation program that applications are made online. That particular program was initiated for youth who consist of graduates and non-graduates, as with JAMB candidates who continue to apply for their own admissions online. Indeed, all the local governments around the countries currently have N-Power beneficiary serving in sundry capacity. The utilization of BVN for N-Power beneficiaries payment is also as a means of identity. The identities of the cash transfer beneficiaries are protected by law, as the concept of recipient of social granted is a prerequisite before disclosure. They can, however, be found and verified through the local government community facilitators who have been trained to support them by weekly visits to the ward. The names, wards, local government, state, and phone numbers of the CTFs can be found. The leadership of the Senate also stated that the NSIP information was not accessible to the National Assembly. Untrue. It is, however, on record that all invitations to public hearings and meetings by the NAS were honored by myself as the supervisor of the NSIP and the cluster team, while documents relating to the structure, activities and progress of the NSIPs were routinely shared with them. Over the period that the NSIO supervised the NSIP under the auspices of the Office of the Vice President. Furthermore, the monthly report of 3,000 N-Power monitors spread across 774 local governments are available to both Poverty Alleviation Committee of the NAS. It should also be noted that the accounting and procurement aspect of the NSIPs were handled by the Ministry of Budget and National Planning on behalf of the NSIO and not OVP. All requests for information related thereto were responded to by that ministry. It was further asserted, apparently, that because the beneficiaries are not known personally to the NAS members, the National Social Registers is a scam and needs to be reformed through a process that is more inclusive of the NAS, regrettable and dangerous. The NSI comprises persons selected by the communities directly within the constituencies of each of the NAS members. No person has been imported from one community to the other. They have been identified as very poor by the community in which they reside and may not necessarily be known by the lawmakers. Verifications of their identities and status is possible, as has been for all investigative journalists and monitors through the CTFs. It should be noted that Nigeria has signed a financing agreement with the World Bank, in which the process of identification of beneficiary was set out. Any departure from the process, which would place at risk the accessibility to the IDA credit and the recovered funds from the Abacha family. The demand for the inclusion of candidates to the NSR from the NAS has been a recurring issue from the inception of the NSIPs. My role and singular focus has simply been to comply with the terms of agreement and the MOU entered into by the federal government of Nigeria, as well as to establish an objective, efficient and transparent process for uplifting the poor out of poverty through structures and mechanisms that are credible and sustainable. I have consistently reminded both NAS Committee, Chairman on Poverty Alleviation, that there is no social protection program in the world in which politicians are responsible for selecting the beneficiaries of cash transfer. All successful social protection programs extract their beneficiary from an objective community platform, if only to ensure that the poorest of the poor are supported out of poverty in an inclusive, community-driven and timely manner. The data being collected in each household enables the accurate and scientific measurement and tracking to ensure of analysis and research towards resolving poverty. Since poverty knows no ethnicity, religions or political affiliations, the process must be insulated from influence that are likely to deviate from achieving the desired objective to alleviating abject poverty, rather than being used for patronage or as compensation for loyalty. Wow, so guys, what is your own take about this? Your comment is highly appreciated, and kindly drop your comments at the comment section below. For those who subscribe, I want to say a very big thank you to you, and we'll say God bless you. Bye.